show that's hosted by comedians Tom Segura and Bert Kreischer. Not just comedians, but best friends.
Yeah. And you said this was like a popular show, right?
Okay, so the episode that we are reviewing, which came out a few days ago, has 617,000 views on YouTube. It's also a podcast. Wow. So millions of people have heard this now. That's the most mind-boggling part of this whole enterprise. Correct. Like the fact that anyone is entertained by this for 5 minutes, let alone 90 minutes at a time, is just, I can't even fathom it. Let's get into clips because I really want to point out how poor these two are at putting on an entertaining show. Yeah. It's surprisingly bad, even though you shouldn't be surprised if you've heard us cover Tom Segura or Bert Kreischer. You would think it would be bad, but man, it's even worse. It's worse than you'd think it would be. You'd think they would land on a joke by mistake. Yeah. Yeah. You got a clip that sums up the show for you, Cros? I do, and I call it 2 distractions, 1 sentence. This is number 1.
If it works a little bit, then I'll go to a doctor and go, hey, I really need this shit. But I did the sleep test. It was a fucking nightmare. Who's that?
I don't know.
It was a nightmare to do the sleep test. And I was like...
Let's wrap.
And okay, hold on. I'm in the middle of a point.
Okay.
It's because I'm right.
No.
Neither of them can get through a sentence. Yeah. It doesn't even matter what he was trying to say because he didn't even know what he was trying to say.
By the way, I had that clip too. And the reason why I had it is because he's making some type of point. He's trying to talk about something. Tom Segura goes, let's wrap. Right in the middle of it. Yeah. And the reason why is because they need to fill a certain amount of time to get their 7 sponsorship reads in. Yeah. They're just filling time so they can read the ads so they can make money and that's how you know that. Yeah. Because they're in the middle of the conversation. He's like, all right, we've fulfilled our time. Let's call it. Let's wrap. Like, yeah. He's like, what do you mean? I'm talking about something. He's like, I'm not listening to you. No one is. No one's listening to any of this shit.
Yeah, and and I'm sure we'll get into it. Like they're coming up with shit on the fly to fill time. Like, hey Carl, how many digits of pi do you know? And then they'll spend 20 minutes on that, and it's just endless nonsense.
All right, I have an example of that. What this show needs, I wrote a note down. This show needs like a segment producer. Yeah. They need like Will Murray or something over there to say, all right, we're going to talk about this and then we'll get into that. Like, it's so mindless. Yeah. And random.
Yeah, like, for instance, Adam Carolla has a guy who's like, oh, here's the game I set up, or here, pick between these things and pick the real one or whatever.
Oh, God, they try to set up games. Yeah. Nonstop. So this is where they come up with an idea, and Bert declares that this is going to go viral. Yeah. He's excited about this idea.
All right, let's see who can name the most presidents. Okay. Let's go back and first one to tap out. Okay. You guys got a list of the presidents up? Guys, I want you to play along at home. Okay? Oh, this will be like a viral clip. Oh, guys, this is about to go viral. I want you to play at home. This is Bert Kreischer and Tom Segura from Two Bears, One Cave listing American presidents.
Why did he think that was going to go viral? He's like, oh, I better set this up so it's not out of context for people. This is going to be amazing. We're going to list all of the presidents. They get through 12, and then it's over. Yeah. They didn't know Clinton or Trump. That's how mind-numbing this fucking show is.
It's crazy. And again, it's like it's two people, two dummies having dumb conversations. It'd be like if I came over like, hey, Carl, how many colors can you name? Right. How many fucking people in the phone book can you think of? Like, it's not even, none of this is interesting.
By the way, what you said was not an exaggeration. A lot of times we exaggerate for comedic reasons. Yeah. How many colors could you name might be on next week's show if they hear us do this? Like, holy shit, that's a great idea.
Here's another free one. How many types of trees can you name, fellas? That's like a half hour.
That's
for you
literally
idiots.
what this show is. And then they giggle to each other because they're stupid. Like, oh, neat. Like, for example, they didn't know who the second president of the United States was. Yeah. And this is surprising, even to me.
Let's think, right? So George Washington was first. Who's number 2?
I don't know.
His son?
No.
I'm kidding.
Think about it. Would this be interesting to you? Would you listen to this?
Yeah. Why play the game? They call up a guy, played number 14. This blew me away.
Yeah, okay.
Ulysses S. Grant.
Oh, my God.
Ulysses S. Grant was a president?
Yeah.
Okay, maybe don't play the game.
Yeah, maybe it's not that fun or funny.
If you're like Colorado's a state, maybe don't play the game where you name all the states. That's not a game for you.
Yes. Agreed on that one. Yeah, it's interesting that they try to figure out who their smartest friend is. That's the clip you just played, the person they call up. Because they like I said, they came up with like a dozen presidents. And they're like, oh, who would know who the presidents are? Let's call our smartest friend. But they try to figure out who that is. And listen to the pause after they ask this question.
I thought we named all the
Who's
20th
our
century.
Smartest friend?
Who's our smartest friend?
Who's our smartest friend?
It's Joe Rogan. Your smartest friend is Joe Rogan. The answer is Joe Rogan. He just signed a $100 million deal to be a podcaster.
Yeah.
Nobody else can do that.
Yeah.
They're like, I don't know. Later on in the show, they call up Dr. Drew, and he answers.
Yeah.
Like, that might be your smartest friend. He's a fucking MD.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Yeah. Well, yeah, they think it'll be super fun, too. Here's number 13.
Okay.
Call Kevin Christie. Tell him as quick as he can, lift off as many presidents as he can.
Okay.
If he gets one out of our group, then he wins.
Let's see.
This is a fun game.
No.
Oh, yeah.
No, it's not.
Bert Kreischer is constantly declaring that things are fun and interesting and we're all enjoying this. And that tells me that it's probably just the opposite. You know, it's that whole thing where you're trying to sell things a little bit too hard.
Yeah.
So he comes up with another game. And here are the rules to the game, because since they didn't know who any of the presidents were, they're like, oh, I got an idea.
Yeah.
I want you to take and look at the names that we didn't name. And then I want you to come up with names that are semi-similar, okay? Meaning, take a look at their vice president, take a look at a name that we might also recognize, and then I want you to give us both names, and we've got to decide if that was an American president or not an American president. Meaning, so you name a name that it was either an American president or not, and then we're going to go, that guy was never president, or that guy's our president.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Hey, I want to play that game with you right now, Cros. You ready?
And that was the second time they explained that whole thing. I actually threw out a clip that was him trying to explain it the first time. It's like, dude, maybe games just as a thing aren't for you. Imagine trying to play Monopoly with this guy and he's trying to explain free parking. It would take all fucking day. You'd be there for hours.
Cros, I got a fun game for you. Ready? I'm going to name a podcast title. You have to tell me if Patrick Michael's the host or not. All right? All right. Chewing bubblegum.
Oh, shit.
Yes or no?
No.
Oh, yes. Ding, ding, ding.
Nice.
Breakfast sausage. What a fun game.
Yeah. Fascinating shit.
They were so impressed with themselves, too.
Yeah.
When the guy's like reading off names of people like, oh, I have no idea if that's a president or not. Then what are we doing?
Yeah,
then what's the fucking point? They're not keeping score. It's just, again, it's just filling time.
Yeah.
And these are people who thought Ben Franklin was a president.
What about Benjamin Franklin? Was he not a president?
No, he never was a president.
Wait, why is he on $100? I thought that was only
Because he discovered lightning.
Who is this for?
Oh, man.
Who is enjoying this? Is it for fifth graders who are like, I'm smarter than these famous comedians?
Yeah.
Is it to build up the self-esteem of our youth? Because if that's the case, then I'm for it. You don't think that's the case, though? You don't think that's the target audience for this one?
I don't know who the target audience was, and I want to say really dumb, bored people. And
Well,
I
yeah.
can't.
Dumb and bored are two things you would have to be to watch and or listen to this show. And they're amazed by how much stuff they don't know.
It's amazing of all the shit we don't know, you know?
It is.
Yeah.
It's shocking how much you don't. The second president of the United States. Pff, how would anyone know that? How could you possibly know that?
Yeah, and they get into the essence of knowledge. First, they try pulling this off, which was hilarious, because this was the only game that lasted 90 seconds. Here's number 15.
All right.
Okay, I'm gonna go first, and then I want you to go. Top 10 books I've ever read.
And again, they go back and forth twice, and they're already out of books. They don't even know what the fuck's going on.
I didn't understand the point of that because he goes, all right, top 10 books you've read. If I asked you that, you'd be like, oh, I don't fucking know. Can you give me a day? Like,
Yeah, I'd have to sit
top
down
10 books. And then Tom Segura's like, what do you mean? He's like, well, can you just name 10 books you've read? Like they changed the rules very quickly because they're like, yeah, how the fuck are we going to do this?
Yeah. I remember Jay Leno had that bit. He went out and asked people, or no, Jimmy, what's his nuts?
Kimmel?
Jimmy Kimmel, thank you. Name a book. And people couldn't do it. They couldn't even spit out the Bible. Or something. They'd be like, Dr. Seuss? It's like, well, that's an author, but there you go.
Well, do you realize that they're able to edit out the people who are high on meth?
Of course.
And just
But
use
these
those
two guys
people.
would have been great on that bit.
They would have been
like,
good.
name a book, and they'd be like, Hop on Dad. Be like, well, you're close. It's Hop on Pop, but sure. I mean,
So Bert Kreischer's big statement in this episode is he's discovered that dumb people reading books does not help them.
Yeah.
And they should not read books because they're just dumb. And he gives an example of this. It's very difficult for him to describe what he's talking about.
Yeah. Oh, boy.
And Tom's not picking up what he's putting down. So he says He gives the Bible as the example. That's what just triggered me. You mentioned the Bible here.
As I often do, Carl.
We're always talking Bible talk around here.
But like, if you read a book and you're a moron, the Bible, perfect example. How many people read the Bible and are morons and then go, "Oh, that means no butt fucking"? You're like, that's not the point the book's about.
Yeah.
Right?
Yes.
I think that actually is one of the points of the Bible. I think no butt fucking is specifically a point of the Bible. Am I wrong about this?
It's hard. There's a ton of butt fucking in the Bible, actually, if you want to get technical about
it's pretty anti-sodomy, though,
and then a
isn't
bunch of bad shit happens to those folks.
Right.
And I mean, you know, it's up for debate.
You would draw the conclusion that butt fucking is frowned upon by God.
I mean, there's a lot of interpretations. You know what I mean?
Okay.
As with anything. Yeah, well, yeah, they get into the essence of truth. Here's number 16 from Bert.
Okay.
Intelligent. Don't give dumb people access to become intelligent.
Well, I think I mean.
By the way, this is everything I do is skewed in a comedy sense, so I'm trying to come up with an idea that is at one point funny, but there is truth behind every idea.
Stupid! I'm speaking the truth, but it's funny. They get into books. This is 3 different clips. This is Bert. This is just called Bert Can't Read 3 different times. They're 17.
You know what they call gaijin is what they call white people? I think. By the way, see, I don't even know the information I read, and I'm repeating it, and it's not even correct. See, my brain read this book, and then I can't tell you what this book's about. No one asked dolphins to grow up.
No one asks dolphins to grow up?
No one asks dolphins to grow up. My whole time I read that book, all I thought was, I'm a fucking dolphin. Everyone's asking me to grow up and be more mature, but I'm a fucking dolphin. I like to jump out of the water. I like to fucking run around. I'll come up to your boat and be like, That's all my only takeaway from that book. The whole time I read it, I was like, and here they are asking a dolphin to fucking put a shirt on.
Is that what the book is about?
I could not tell you what that book's about.
Stupid! You're so stupid!
That was 3 conversations about 3 different books. He didn't know anything. He had no idea what the books were, even the basic summary of it. He couldn't even describe these fucking books.
It's amazing that he came to the conclusion that dumb people shouldn't read books. I wonder how he came to that conclusion.
It's shocking.
It's shocking. You know what, Bert? I'm going to throw it out there. Most dumb people should read more books.
Yeah. Or try to understand them at least. When you get done with the book and someone's like, what was that book about? And you're like, I don't know. All I thought it was dolphins. Maybe you got to, maybe go back to Dr. Seuss to bring it back, I guess. I don't know.
So I think I've cracked the nut of why these guys are popular and what their whole shtick is and the whole essence of what this relationship is and what this show is. And I have the clip that sums it up here.
You like it?
Pretty good.
I told you. This is why you need me as a best friend.
It's pretty good.
We should solve a mystery together. I bet if we...
So they're like best friends, and they declare that they're best friends. And this is where they're eating peanut butter, and the guy enjoys the peanut butter. And for some reason, Bert's very excited about this. They're acting like children. They're adults who act like children.
Yeah.
That's what their shtick is. That's what makes them appealing to people. Like, oh, here I've been an adult. And, we have words like adulting and shit like that because nobody wants to grow the fuck up and have responsibilities and live their lives correctly.
Yeah.
So instead they're like, I just want to be a 13-year-old child. I just want to go to sleepovers with my friends and eat peanut butter. And these assholes are doing it on YouTube. And I think that's where their audience is. I think it's people who are stuck in their teenage years, probably in their 20s, 30s, and 40s, who are going, oh my gosh, these guys who just be fucking raging alcoholics and eat junk food and giggle at themselves and they're famous. I want to do that. That's amazing.
I think you are onto something there. And no lie, 30 minutes of the show is peanut butter talk. I mean, they go on, which is even worse than what books have you read that you don't understand? Like, what do you think of peanut butter?
Oh, yeah. The hot takes on peanut butter are just hysterical because they're comparing natural peanut butter where the oil will separate.
Yeah.
I mean, we've all had natural peanut butter and you have to stir it up compared to processed like Jif peanut butter. And Bert goes into a full thing on that. It's like, you might want to leave that out of your act, buddy.
Holy shit.
Not that interesting.
Well, and to go back to your childish shit, here's number 3. This is him enjoying some peanut butter.
Is that hot?
It's very spicy.
It is?
Why fucking hot as shit? Why did we get this?
I don't know.
That's a great thing to do on a podcast is eat peanut butter. Eating anything is a terrible idea. Peanut butter's the worst.
Dude,
the worst idea.
Talk with your mouth full. What the fuck? Dude, by the time my kids were 5, they wouldn't have pulled that shit in the same zip code as me because I would have smacked the fucking food right out of their face.
And that's why you don't want Kreischer as your dad. What a fucking asshole.
Now, my kids are assholes, but they don't talk with their mouth full, which puts them leagues ahead of these idiots.
Well, let me play an example because they're taste testing peanut butter with pretzels. And, of course, we get to hear them crunching on a pretzel. Just let this one play out.
That is really fucking good.
I didn't sweeten that. I didn't do anything to that.
Nah.
That's the audio that's coming out on a podcast that has millions of listeners.
Yeah. And then they get to, in this long peanut butter discussion, they start reading George Washington Carver's Wikipedia entry because of course they do. Yeah. This clip is kind of long, and I sucked 15 seconds of dead air out of this clip. So what you're going to hear was actually a shit ton longer. Here, number 4.
Carver developed approximately 300 products made from peanuts. These include flour, paste, insulation paper, wallboard, wood stains, soap, shaving cream, skin lotion.
Hilarious.
What's going on?
What is going on?
George Washington Carver made so many things out of peanut butter, but they were all like lotions, shaving creams, skin lotion, soap. I bet when he came walking around the corner, like, here comes George Washington Carver. I smell peanut butter. he just fucking reeked of peanut butter everywhere.
Yeah.
No lie, I would rather Seamus read Wikipedia to me than this fucking idiot.
Imagine being that proud of yourself.
Imagine thinking a list was that funny.
Correct.
That's the intro paragraph of a Wikipedia article. If that's your comedy, man, there's a ton of background noise going on, and I was fascinated by this. Here's what the room sounded like. Now, I didn't sweeten this, but you'll hear that I boosted the volume twice. Okay. This is the sound of the room. Here's number 6, just some random shit they're talking about.
Oh, I think he actually has we were trash talking in that group text the other day, remember?
I don't read them.
Okay.
I read the last one, and if it applies to me, I reply to that one.
So think about what your ego would be if someone was cracking up laughing at everything you uttered like that. That's insane. This guy's like, oh, I don't read text messages. This guy's losing his mind over that.
Yeah. Did you get that message? No. Insane
laughter. And so you wonder why Bert is such an egomaniac. Yeah. That's why. Oh. He thinks everything he says is hilarious. It's not.
Yeah.
In fact, very little of what he says is hilarious. The only thing I thought was funny is at the very, very end. It was after they were wrapping up and they were talking about doing the sleep test.
Yeah.
And they were talking about how they needed to take Ambien in order to do the sleep test. And they started talking about how they were going to be yelling racial epithets and tweeting at the Secretary of State. That when I was like, okay, that's kind of funny.
Yeah.
Nothing else in the show for an hour and a half. This is an hour and a half show.
Yeah.
Was even remotely interesting to listen to.
Yeah.
Or funny at all. Can I just, I put together a peanut butter supercut.
Oh, yes.
There is so much fucking peanut butter talk on this show.
It never ends.
But again, tweens love peanut butter.
Yeah.
They probably eat 3 or 4 peanut butter sandwiches a week. So to them, this is really important shit.
Peanut butter.
Peanut butter.
Peanut butter. Peanut butter. Peanut butter. Peanut butter. Peanut butter. Peanut butter. The peanut butter. Peanut butter.
Oh.
He created peanut butter. Peanut butter. Peanut butter. Peanut butter. Like just healthy peanut butter. Which peanut butter? Peanut butter. 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 Peanut butter.
And getting back to that thing where he said, you played the clip, where it's like, everything I say is skewed in comedy. I'm like, oh, dude, you're trying to be funny? Don't say that. That makes it worse.
Yeah.
If you were just out here going, I'm just trying to kill some time and read some ads, I'd have more respect for you than saying, oh, I'm going to taste peanut butter and eat pretzels on a podcast. I'm trying to be funny.
Yeah.
Like, oh, well, you're bad at that then.
Yeah.
Pretend you're not. By the way, he's also really bad at reading ads. I'm talking about Bert Kreischer specifically here. He cannot read. This is an ad he's reading for something that helps with hangovers. So Bert's the perfect guy for this. Everyone knows he's the machine. He drinks a ton. He's chugging wine on the show, chugging it. A red wine, a Pinot. And so he's got this product that you'd want to think that he actually uses. Like the whole point of doing a read and endorsing a product, you're like, this works for me. Tell me if this sounds natural in any way. He's holding a piece of paper and reading it poorly.
I'm an active guy. I like to have a little wine, but before I do, I take a little DHM detox. It gets rid of the brain fog, the nausea, the next day anxiety. You don't have any of that. See, the big misconception is that all your hangovers are due to dehydration. That is not true. It's due to the buildup of alcohol's toxins as a byproduct. And DHM Detox uses science to help boost your body's natural response to alcohol and help break down those toxins. Their key ingredient comes from Asia. It is an Asian extract. It comes from a plant extract that has been used in Asia for centuries and is known as Tree of the Gods.
The crazy thing is, this was pre-recorded.
Yeah.
He had as many takes at that as he wanted. He's like, we got it. Fucking nailed it. Because all the ads come swooping in the middle of a conversation, and then it's just a pre-recorded ad that they read. If you had heard that, you would think, well, he's been drinking wine, and they're just kind of running with it on the show. No! He had all of the time in the world to get it right. And tripped over himself with every other word.
And it's really poor copy read poorly. You know what I mean?
I know.
Nobody's doing anybody any favors
no
and
shit.
all that.
The fucking extracts from Asia? Who cares?
From Asia? Well, then it must work. And no, dude,
Stupid.
I did a lot of drinking in my time. Anxiety was never an issue for me.
No.
Hangovers were a big problem in my life. I never had anxiety.
Let's talk about Bert's mush mouth. This is like right out of the gate.
Yeah.
Like, I know these.
Yeah.
Like, well, how the fuck do you talk like that and you're a podcast host? No, not a podcast host. This guy hosts multiple podcasts.
Yeah.
And for some reason, they're talking to Warren Sapp about starting another show.
So we're talking to Warren Sapp about doing a podcast together. And I'm hoping it can come together. And all I mean by that is, like, there's 3 different people now, 3 schedules, the logistics of it all. And I hope it can come together.
So it's the 2 of them with an ex-NFL guy. I don't understand why that makes sense. But look at Tom Segura hosts Your Mom's House and this 2 Bears. Bert has Bertcast. He also has the Bill Bert podcast with Bill Burr. They're constantly on everyone else's podcast. They're constantly guests on shows. They don't have anything to talk about anymore.
Yeah.
They could be interesting people, but they're spreading themselves way too thin. They're spreading the peanut butter too thin, Crouch.
Yeah. And it gets into this. So, and this is another 20-minute conversation. Well, what sports could you beat Warren Sapp at?
Yeah.
And here's Bert going full motherfucking Seamus here at number 10.
Okay.
I bet I could pick up, because I did fencing one time.
Yeah.
And they actually said I was pretty amazing.
Yeah.
And I can ride a bike with no handlebars. And my mom says that my drawing of Spider-Man looks just like Spider-Man. Here's number 11. Let's name every fucking sport in Wikipedia.
Okay, hold on. How about badminton?
Yes. One-on-one badminton, I could take Warren Sapp.
What about one-on-one basketball?
No, I know, by the way, not even remotely.
Boxing?
No.
How is this an interesting conversation?
And it's a series of these long, boring conversations. It gets a half hour peanut butter, a half hour of this fucking what can you do with Warren Sapp, a half hour of what presidents could we name, and then we'll talk about the essence of knowledge for some fucking reason.
Yeah.
And then we're done.
It's surprisingly unlistenable.
I hated every second of it. I hated every fucking moment.
I sat through the entire 90 minutes straight. I just sat there and tried to focus, because if I had taken a break, I never would have gotten back to it.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I could just feel it. That I was like, oh, well, if I stop listening now, I'll find any excuse to do anything else.
Literally. Yeah.
All right. Let's talk about their hilarious cold open.
You're a big Catcher in the Rye fan, right?
I read it because I thought it was a baseball book. I started reading it, and I'm like, when are they going to play baseball? And they never play baseball.
Like, what level joke is that? I thought Catcher in the Rye was a baseball joke.
Yeah.
By the way, another thing that Bert does is he refers to his act a lot. Yeah. He talks about, oh, this is a joke that I wrote, and they're never good jokes.
Yeah.
I don't know if people find Bert's comedy funny, but let me show you some examples of jokes that he wants to work into the conversation because they're in his act.
So I used to have a joke. One of my first jokes that I wrote was George Washington Carver created peanut butter, and he also could make a car combustible engine run off the peanut oil as well. His big mistake was that he introduced peanut butter and jellies first. And he was like, all right, guys, I'm going to pass these sandwiches out, and then I'm going to tell you all the cool stuff I can do with a peanut. And they're like, these are good. And he's like, hold on, that's just where we're starting. First, they're like, what? Do you have any milk? And he's like, hold on, guys, hold on. I have a lot of stuff I want to talk about.
And I cut it there, but he goes on and on and on. Like he does his entire bit on the podcast. By the way, Tom's being polite. I'm sure he's heard it before. Here's another example of him pulling from a joke that he has in his act.
I had a joke. I used to say, I'm not racist. I'm a economist. Because I love numbers. Numbers don't lie.
It's interesting because you would think that if you have a joke that you've crafted and you perform on stage and it works into the conversation, you'd think that would be funny. Like, that's a joke you worked on. You're not a racist. You're an economist.
Yeah, there you go.
Good one. Really funny. And here's another example of Bert talking about a joke from his act.
You had brought up that you were taping your mouth shut.
I used to have a joke about that, about going, my wife goes, oh, you have no idea how hard he is to live with. He snores. He doesn't flush the toilet. And when he drinks, his semen tastes like shit. And I was like, maybe you have low standards.
Wouldn't it be high standards? That doesn't even make sense. Maybe you have low standards. Like in a man or how you want semen to taste?
I think he's going for you have poor taste in men if you were then married to me. But it's
not a
very
funny
poorly
joke.
Phrased.
It's poorly phrased and poorly executed. I mean, honestly, these guys, these stand-ups, and they both have multiple Netflix specials. They're both very big comedians. They're at the pinnacle. And if you can't execute on a joke that you've told hundreds of times, if not thousands of times, and you're on a podcast, I have a joke about that. Let me think. So my wife said I snore and my cum tastes like shit. And then I'm like, well, you're an asshole. Get it?
Yeah.
All right, I guess.
Yeah. Well, and they get into some, that comedy classic where you start tagging jokes.
Yeah.
Here's number 9.
There you go.
It's like the guy with the biggest head in a room full of small-headed people.
That's not an analogy that people make.
It's like a guy with a ton of ears with everyone with no ears.
What? Okay. All right.
We just keep doing this.
Yeah.
It's like so much.
It's like a guy with a bottle opener when no one's got a bottle opener.
It's like a guy who's got 6 hands and no one's got hands.
There you have it.
There you go. I got it.
Oh. And there's even a guy on the phone, and everyone's talking over each other, and just I hated
These are comedians,
really
professional comedians, and the guy's like, it's like you have a dozen ears, and everyone else has 0 ears, and then the guy tags it with, I have a single bottle opener, and no one else has a bottle opener. Well, you're not understanding where we're going with this. If that's how you're tagging this joke, it's surprising to me that at a certain point, as they're talking about George Washington Carver. Because he talks a lot about George Washington Carver.
Yeah.
He's very concerned that talking about him might get him canceled.
By the way, what else could George Washington Carver, I'm going to get canceled for this fucking conversation. What else could he make a peanut do?
So I assume the reason why he said I'm going to get canceled for this is because George Washington Carver was a black gentleman.
Was he?
But I would think that he would get canceled for that. For the old-fashioned way, because you're boring and no one's watching or listening.
Yeah, really.
That's how you get canceled. Back in the day, kids, the way that broadcasters got canceled is they weren't very good.
Yeah.
And no one gave a shit.
Yeah.
It wasn't that they talked about George Washington Carver's peanut inventions.
There is something to that. There used to be a limited amount of airspace.
Correct.
And a shitload of competition for the airspace, and only... more interesting or more relevant things would get through. Now there's unlimited airspace because everybody, even us, could have a fucking podcast, and it's just people
even you
void.
and me have a podcast, Crouch,
and there's
that proves it.
Yeah, proof is in that pudding right there.
All right, let's talk about Bert's stupid fucking laugh and how he cracks himself up all the time. This is interesting because the show says. The description of the show is twice a month, comedian best friends Tom Segura and Bert Kreischer get together in a bear cave at YMH Studios to do what bears do, make each other laugh. All right, so the premise is these guys are just going to crack each other up, except for that's not what happens. Bert just cracks himself up.
Yeah.
Insulation paper, wallboard, wood stains, soap, shaving cream, skin lotion.
And you already kind of played that, but here's another example of the high voice Bert. He had to get it in at the end because he almost went an entire 90 minutes without doing high voice Bert.
Yeah.
Let's do a sleep test together where we both get in the same bed.
God, if I don't fall asleep before you, I'll fucking punch you.
Hold on, this is a great
I will
bit.
fucking punch you.
Let's do sleep test together. Are we going to get together?
You know, they have to, it will be sober, right?
Who enjoys that? I know that's his signature thing.
Yeah.
Who's enjoying that?
Oh, it's so obnoxious. And he doesn't even do it. Like, I had a whole list of, like, falsetto songs. I'm like, oh, yeah, I'm going to make...
I know! To get to your bed! Yeah. He didn't even do it. It's like fucking, you go to see Gallagher. He doesn't bring out a watermelon. What are you doing?
Yeah.
Why am I here then if you're not going to do your bits? Oh, man. When they're talking about peanut butter, they decide, all right, we're going to mix together Jif, the processed peanut butter, with this natural peanut butter. We're going to mix the two together on a podcast and then eat them and then taste them. And Bert decides this is going to be amazing.
By the way, there are people watching this going, I already know where this is going to go. It's going to be fucking amazing.
Really?
Who would, yeah, even Tom's like, really? Who would think that's going to be amazing that you're mixing together two types of peanut butter and then eating them?
Who's invested in this like it's the Food Channel? Like it's, Iron Chef or something. Oh my God, they're going to mix the peanut butter? Holy shit, honey.
It's not epic mealtime. If this was epic mealtime, it would make a little bit more sense. But it's not. It's two best friends trying to crack each other up. Yeah. Hey, it's the best friend show. We're BFFs. What's up, everybody? By the way, there is an ad. So there's 7 different ads on this show.
Yeah.
There is an ad for something that I found bonkers. I've never heard of this before. Hopefully I'll never hear about it again.
This episode is brought to you by EstablishedTitles.com. You can become a lord today. I know this sounds a little bit crazy, but listen, in Scotland, landowners have long been referred to as lairds, the Scottish term for lord. The female equivalent being lady. All you need is at least 1 square foot of land. So you can now buy title packs. They're plots of land, 1 square foot to 10 square feet, so that you can become a lord or a lady, or you can make somebody else. It's an amazing gift.
You buy a plot of land in Scotland, and then you get the title of lord. This is like naming a star after someone. Remember that fucking thing?
I was just going to say, this is that uncle who's got nothing to buy. It's like, I named a star after you. I don't know. Here you go.
Do you know what it costs to buy this?
No, they said it in the ad, too. It was like
I looked it up.
Right?
I looked it up. If you want a 1 foot by 1 foot plot of land, it's like $50.
Yeah.
And then if you want the certificate that proves that you got it, it's $30 additionally. What? If you want a 10 by 10, it's $300.
Jesus Christ.
$300 for a plot of land in Scotland, maybe. Who fucking knows? Who's even proving this? Who would even know? You're selling the same plot of land over and over again.
Why not buy Florida swampland? At least it's on the continent.
Could you imagine you go to a family gathering and your fucking uncle comes up to you and he's like, hey, guess who's now Lord Jim?
Yeah.
Like, okay, you're Gaylord Jim. Gives a shit.
Yeah.
Stupid. Oh, I just pulled a Tom Brennan.
One of the fag capitals of the world.
Whoops.
Here was my favorite ad. Or at least a piece of it. It was for a thing that cleans your asshole. Here's number 7.
But days are common in the rest of the world. I remember the first time I used one in Japan.
Wait, hold on. Did you hear that sentence? I got to start that one over again. These are not words. I feel like Bill O'Reilly. There's no words there.
But days are common in the rest of the world. I remember the first time I used one in Japan. I'm barely saying these words.
Hilarious.
Yeah.
That producer guy who just fucking cackles in the background.
Every sentence.
Is so obnoxious.
It's crazy.
Even if there's just a pregnant pause.
Yeah.
You don't have to say anything even remotely funny or try to be funny. This guy just starts cracking up. Yeah. It's like the Joker. Like the Joker can't help but laugh at everything all the time.
Yeah.
I hope just like the Joker, he murders the hosts of this show.
Hopefully.
Sorry, spoiler alert. At the end of the Joker, he murders the host of the show. Sorry about that, everybody. All right, what else you got in this?
No, I can't wait to never talk about Bert Kreischer ever again.
I don't know if that's going to be the case. Yeah. He hosts 57 podcasts.
I know.
And all we do is review podcasts.
Yeah,
I have a feeling our paths will cross again.
Yeah.
Who are these podcasts? WATP. Who likes these podcasts? Not WATP.